Awesome. All right. Well, welcome to our Tuesday night team call. You guys, tonight is a super special night. We have somebody wonderful who is gracious enough to have rescheduled his own team call to be on ours tonight. So feeling very grateful for that. Thank you, Pat. Patrick Riehlman is an 8-star diamond coach, 4-time elite, Million Club or Legacy Club member coach, founder of Team Boom. And him and I connected and actually got to meet briefly when we were in Scottsdale for leadership this last year. And he's just got a really solid mindset. A lot of our philosophies align. And so I'm super excited for him to speak to us tonight. He's going to talk about being a male coach, because obviously there are some gender differences with running your business as a male or female, kind of how he got started. And then he's going to dive into some mindset stuff. And if there's time at the end, Pat, maybe we'll touch on kind of how to maximize income and that kind of thing. But really, really laid back, just going to give you the floor and let you speak your words of wisdom. I'm going to get out of the way. If you have any questions during the call, just pop them in the chat, or wait till after. I'm sure we'll have 5 or 10 minutes after the call. And yeah, with that, I'm going to get out of the way. And Pat, do you want to just kind of introduce yourself and share kind of how you got into coaching?
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So I've been a coach for 10 years. It's crazy to think that. But the first few years, I really didn't have a lot of success with the business, and then ended up going on to have some really good success. And I want to talk about some of the things that I changed from those first few years to the last couple years. But just a little bit about me. So when I'm from upstate New York, which is almost Canada, we get almost as much snow as Canada, way up by the Canadian border, kind of near the Great Lakes, near Lake Ontario. And I went to college up there and was a college athlete. And when I picked my school, I picked it kind of based on the coach. I really liked the coach and I liked the program, and I played lacrosse in college, which is a big Canadian sport as well. And as far as my major, because you got to pick a major when you go to college, right? As far as the major I picked, I had a little conversation with my mom, and she said, "Hey, you're pretty good at math. Maybe you should be an accounting major and you'll be able to get a good job when you get out of college." And so that was kind of, the extent of the amount of thought I put into what I was going to do the rest of my life. And I listened to my mom. She's an amazing woman, and she taught me compounding interest when I was probably 10 years old. And she was the first coach I ever signed up. She's a 6-figure earner in the business as a coach. Both of my sisters are 6-figure earners in the business as well. So it's turned into a family business, which is really cool, that my parents, my sisters, and I all are 6-figure annual earners, which is cool. And there's no guarantee on the income. It's all based on your own skill and effort. But so basically, I went to college and studied accounting, graduated, and did the next step, which was getting a job. And I got a job with a big accounting firm, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and started studying for my CPA exam, started logging some really, tough hours in the accounting world for PwC, and started to gain some weight. I got away from my athletic career. I got away from my routine. I got away from my teammates, and I got away from any type of accountability. I got behind a desk and I gained about 30 pounds, and I didn't feel like I had gained a lot of weight, but I did. And I remember one night coming home from work, I stopped at a CVS and I picked up some photos that I had gotten developed. I don't know, some of you guys might be too young to remember, but you had to used to have to go to like a pharmacy to develop photos. And I remember getting the envelope, and I was sitting there watching Sports Center or something, I think, eating probably some microwave meal. And I pulled out this envelope and I start flipping through these photographs, and I see a picture of myself, and I'm just like, I looked like I was a chipmunk that was like storing walnuts in my cheeks, for winter or something. And I just was like, wow, like what is going on? And I had seen this commercial for P90X. And have you guys ever heard of P90X before? I had seen this commercial show up on TV over and over again. And I finally, after probably 10 or 12 times of watching that, I finally picked up the phone and called and ordered P90X, from the infomercial. So this is just going to be a theme throughout this call, but I had to see that commercial over 10 times before I finally was ready to order it. And so people that are watching you and you're talking to and inviting, that's just going to be a theme that you guys are going to see. And we're going to talk more about that. But I finally picked up the phone. I ordered the program and I started doing it, and I could feel I remember the feeling of, being on the stairs, walking up the stairs, probably about 2 weeks into the program. I remember walking up the stairs to my job and feeling I could feel my legs just felt strong and my core felt strong. And I just started to kind of feel like an athlete again, not just physically, but also mentally as well. I started to have like that athlete mindset. And I know that Marie, I remember saying she was a volleyball player. And so I'm assuming some of you guys kind of understand that athlete mindset kind of starting to kick back in. And two of my college teammates were coaches, Beachbody coaches. And I had no clue there was this coaching opportunity at the time. And they found out that I was doing P90X, and my buddy reached out to me and said, hey, you should do this coaching thing. And I kind of at first was like selling workout programs. Like, I'm a CPA, like I'm going to, be making a 6-figure income with my accounting career. Why would I sell, workout videos? And then they explained to me that there's two parts to the business. There's the helping the customer side of the business, which is you get the retail commission for. But then there's the team side where you build a team, you help other coaches have success, and you earn a team bonus based on the efforts of the team, how many people the team are helping. And that to me was the eye-opening part of the whole business. Obviously, I thought it was really cool to have a little side business to be able to help other people, get a few customers, earn some retail commission on the side. But the fact that I could eventually help some of those people become coaches, help some of those people get to the point where now they can help people of their own. And Beachbody is going to pay me not just for who I'm helping, but pay me based on how many people the entire team is helping. That to me was such an eye-opening thing, because most jobs, most businesses, you only get paid for your effort. And this was an opportunity to be able to get paid for the efforts of an entire team, to be able to get paid for the efforts of an entire ripple effect that I could start. And that's what's going to allow you to create financial freedom, because you're not going to just get paid for your time. It's not going to be you just trading time for hours all the time, trading your hours for money. It's going to get to the point where now you're going to get paid for the efforts of an entire team. And that was what got me excited about it. So I was like, okay, I'll do this thing, and I'll be patient with it. And I'm not expecting to quit my job, right away. And that was a great mindset going into it. But I also didn't have I need to be successful with this mindset yet. So I had this very patient mindset where I just knew I wasn't going to quit. I was going to use the products. I was going to talk to people here and there. And I wasn't expecting to make $1 million right out of the gate. So I had that patient side of the mindset, but I didn't have I'm going to go all in on this thing and just treat this like a real business. I had the mindset of I'm never going to quit, but I'm going to treat it like a hobby. And so that's what I did the first few years. I kind of treated it like a hobby, and I saw the potential. I just didn't really treat it I didn't treat it like $1 million business, even though I knew that it was. So the first few years I kind of just dabbled and would talk to people a little bit here and there. And I would get excited because I'd listen to a call, or I'd get excited because I maybe went to a Super Saturday event or something. And I'd come home and I'd start talking to people, and I'd get a few people that were interested, and maybe a few of them would sign up, and then life would get in the way and I'd stop, and then they'd see me stop, and then they'd stop doing it. Like my mom, for example, she was the first coach I signed up. She started kind of being excited about it, talking to her friends about it, her family. But when she saw me not doing it anymore, she stopped. And that's a great lesson for you guys, is that people, even when they sign up as a coach with you, they still are going to be watching you and making sure that you're still doing this. And if you're not, they're not, so here's the secret to the business. I found out was that big picture, anytime someone comes up to me and they say, Pat, what's the secret to this business? I can tell you that the secret to this business is in 2 words. The secret to building a six-figure income in this business in 2 words is develop leaders. Develop leaders. And you don't need 1 million. You need 2 or 3 great ones. And if you get 2 or 3 great ones and you help them and you work with them, and then they are going to find, their 2 or 3 great ones of their own. The people that I listened to when I first started that were doing really well, it was 2 guys that lived in Boston, older guys that were, creating 6-figure incomes with Beachbody. They always said 5 leaders. Find your 5 leaders, help them find their 5 leaders, and you're going to have a very successful business. And so I always had this in the back of my mind that I don't need to have 1 million coaches. I just need to have 5 good ones. And what I found was you just need 2 or 3 really great ones to kind of get the ball rolling. You really just need 1 really great one to get the ball rolling. And then there's 2 of you working together to find the next. So you find the next great coach even faster. And then there's 3 of you working together to find the 4th. So was always in the back of my mind was I just need to develop leaders, just 1 or 2 great coaches. And I just knew that in my gut that if I never gave up, if I never quit, and I kept sharing this amazing idea of creating financial freedom and the products that I loved, I just knew that it was inevitable that if I just kept sharing it, I was going to find 1 or 2 great coaches that believed in the products as much as me, that wanted to create financial freedom as much as me. I knew it. I knew it in my gut. And so when I talked to people, I wasn't desperate for them. I just knew that if they were going to do it, great. And if they didn't, great. But I was going to be successful with or without them, and they could come with me or they were going to get left behind. And I think that people started to feel that. They knew that I wasn't desperate for them. They knew that I was going to just keep going and be successful with or without them. And I think that's the mentality that you got to have in this business, is that, hey, I'd love for us to do this together, but if you're not going to do this, it's okay. But I'm still going to do this, and I'm going to be successful without you. And I think that's when people start to go, okay, I don't want to get left behind, versus they feel like, wow, this person's desperate for me. They need me to, otherwise they're not going to do this. Otherwise they're not going to be successful without me. They kind of get turned off by that. So the catch to this whole like developing leaders, finding your few good leaders, the catch is that they're usually pretty smart people, right? They're people that are influential people. They're people that are, probably might be doing pretty well with other things in their life sometimes and not necessarily looking for something right away. So they're going to kind of sit back and watch you for a while and ask themselves 2 things. 1, are you serious about this business? And 2, is this a real business? Is this a real business is what they're going to be asking. And 2, are you actually serious about this business? And if they don't know the answer to those 2 questions, they're not going to be jumping into this. And they might jump in, but they're not going to go all in. And the way you answer that question for them, both of those questions, is by you showing up and staying consistent for an entire year. That's the catch. That's the catch. And there's a lot of coaches that have been coaches for multiple years, but they've never been a consistent coach for a year. So every coach has 2 start dates in this business. The day that they sign up and the day that they decide that I'm not going to ever stop being consistent from this day forth. And that's when they start to create that momentum. And that's when that first year, that first real year starts. That's that second start date. So most coaches' biggest mistake they make is they don't understand that people need to watch them for sometimes an entire year before they're going to be ready to and be able to answer the question, this is a real business and this person's serious. That's the biggest mistake that I see coaches make, is they don't understand that sometimes it's just going to take a year for people to watch them before they are going to be able to answer that question for themselves. And when they get 3 months in the business, 6 months in the business, and people aren't saying yes just yet and aren't going all in just yet, they get the new coaches, these coaches get discouraged and they stop everything they're doing. And then those coaches that were starting to kind of get closer to being able to say, yes, this is a real business, and yes, this person's serious, they see you stop and they go, oh, maybe this person isn't that serious. And you lose all of that momentum that you had built. And that is what I did to myself the first few years in this business. That's why I didn't really have a lot of success, because I treated it like a hobby that I could just show up to when I felt like it. And when I didn't feel like it, I didn't show up. And so people didn't look at me and say, oh, that person's serious, and oh, that's a real business, because I wasn't treating it like it was. I wasn't showing up on the days I didn't feel like it. I only showed up when I felt like it. And so I never got that momentum and gained that credibility. And that's the biggest mistake I made. It's the biggest mistake I see coaches make. They just aren't willing to, or maybe they just don't understand that it's going to take that full year of consistency for them to gain their confidence and allow other people to watch them. So I'm a visual learner. How many of you guys are visual learners? Everybody almost, right? So how many of you guys have ever tried to run up the escalator that was going down? You guys know the metal stairs at the mall, the escalator. How many of you guys have ever tried to run up the down escalator? Anybody ever tried that? Couple troublemakers? Yeah, okay, I'm a troublemaker too. But when I was a kid, I used to do this all the time. My mom and my grandma would bring me to the mall, and I just thought it was fun to try to run up the down escalator, right? And that is how your first consistent year of the business is going to feel at times. When you get on that down escalator, when you start your first consistent year in this business, you are going to be excited. You're going to be like a little kid, like I was. You're going to be like, all right, I'm going to do this. This is going to be so much fun. And you start running, you start inviting, you start sharing on social media, you start talking to people, and then you're all of a sudden like, man, I'm running full speed, but like people aren't saying yes as fast as I want. I'm not moving as fast as I want, because like I said, people have to watch you for a while, right? And just like you're on an escalator, sometimes it feels like you're running against the grain and you're running up on the down escalator. And what happens when you get discouraged and you get tired and you decide you're going to take a break? The escalator brings you back down. The escalator brings you back down, and all those people that were watching you, they see you stop. All those people that were getting a little bit curious, that were getting a little bit closer to finally being able to say they were ready to do this and commit to this, they see you stop. And you lose all that momentum you built up. You lose all that credibility, and you go back down the escalator, and you got to start from square one again. And they go, oh, wait, that person's getting back on the escalator? Maybe I'll watch them again, but I'm not going to do it because they kind of fell off for a while. And I did this to myself. I'm telling you, I was the king of the escalator. I was on the escalator because I'd get excited, and then whatever would happen, life would get in the way. Things weren't happening as fast as I want, and I'd stop and take a break. And then I'd lose my momentum. I'd lose all my credibility. People stopped watching me. And what was even worse was I'd even have a few coaches that had gotten on the escalator with me. And when I'd stop, they'd see me stop, and I'd go back down the escalator, and they'd say, where's he going? Why am I on this escalator if he's not even on this escalator? And then they'd stop, and then they'd go back down the escalator. And so not only was I cheating myself out of the success in the business, I was cheating them out of the success in the business because they were stopping as well. How many of you guys feel like that you've done that to yourself? You've been on the escalator, you've gotten excited, people have started to kind of notice, but life gets in the way and it's not growing as fast as you want, and you take a break. How many of you guys have done this? You guys know this. This is what we talk about on our team all the time. We call it #escalator mindset. #escalator mindset. And this is the secret to the business. It's understanding that everyone has 2 start dates in the business: the day you sign up and the day you get on the escalator for the last time and you say, I'm never getting off this effing thing again. And the cool thing about that is that when you stay on that escalator for an entire year and you show people what this thing really is, and you allow people to watch you, and you allow them to get confidence for them to get on the escalator with you, and you get those 1 or 2 good people that start to develop into leaders, all of a sudden your business starts to grow, your team starts to grow, and your income starts to grow. And it's going to feel like you're on the up escalator. And you're going to be running, but your business is going to be growing even faster than you can run on your own, because now you have a couple good people that are running with you, and you're helping way more people than you ever could on your own. That's the escalator mindset. We talk about that all the time. And the other hashtag that we always use is hashtag inevitable, because we know on our team that if you stay on the escalator, it's inevitable that you're going to find those one or two great coaches that are going to see the big picture, that are going to have the same vision as you, and are going to get on that escalator and attract their one or two great people as well. They're going to attract their escalator people too. Hashtag escalator mindset, hashtag inevitable. And you just feel that in your gut. And when you're talking to people, you know that they can either come with you, or maybe they're not going to come with you at this time, but you don't get discouraged. You don't have an attachment to their response, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to plant the seed with them. They're going to tell you no, and they're going to watch you a lot closer. No's are a great thing, because they're going to watch you closer now. And so I love my no's. My coaches love their no's. They don't get afraid of no's, because they know the no's are what are going to turn into the people that are watching them closer, and eventually are going to be the ones that are going to be ready. And that's the difference between a farmer and a hunter. A lot of people try to be hunters in this business. They try to go out and they try to bring something home that day. Farmers do not go out and try to bring anything home that day. They go out and they plant seeds, and they come home with nothing, and they're totally cool with that, because they know that the seeds are going to grow into something as long as they continue to cultivate the soil and give it water and give it sun, and keep continuing to plant more seeds and plant more seeds and plant more seeds. And then when it's time, it's going to start to grow, and they're going to be able to have this whole crop of people that are ready to join them. That's the difference between a hunter and a farmer. You got to have a farmer's mentality in this business. And you got to understand that when people tell you no, they're going to watch you closer, and they might not like anything you post, and they might not comment on anything you post, but they are watching, and they're going to come back around when it's their time. And they're going to feel that you weren't discouraged when they told you no, because you're not going to be, because you didn't expect them to say yes. You weren't trying to hunt. You were just trying to plant a seed with them and let them know that when they're ready, you're going to be ready for them, and let them continue to watch you. And if you keep showing up, people are going to start showing up. That's the farmer's mentality. So escalator mindset, inevitable, farmer's mentality, the farmer's mindset. This is all mindset stuff. So, two things that I'm always looking for in coaches that I notice have the escalator mindset. They have two things that are really strong. And when one of these is off, their escalator mindset is off. One is their why is super strong. It's something that is very clear. It's something that is on their mind all the time. It's not something they just think about once in a while when someone asks them what their why is. It's something that is fueling them daily. It's something they remind themselves of. They read out loud. They have it written down. It's written down for sure. And they look at it all the time, and they think about it all the time. And that why is so strong, and they allow themselves to have that vision, to dream big. And then the other thing they have is belief. So why, and the belief that the things they're doing every day are going to get them to that why. And that belief comes from understanding the escalator mindset, understanding it's just inevitable. If you stick with this long enough, that you're going to attract and find those 2 or 3 people that believe in this opportunity as much as you, that understand the potential of this opportunity as much as you, that have patience as much as you, that have the escalator mindset. So those are the 2 things I'm always working on with my coaches. If their consistency is off, it's one of those 2 things. Either their why isn't strong enough, or their belief isn't strong enough. And we got to rip out some self-limiting beliefs, and we got to start to create that escalator mindset. So that belief starts to get stronger and they start to stay more consistent and they start to see, the delayed results. The work you guys put in right now is going to show up during the New Year's resolutions. The results you're getting right now is from the work you did during Summit, like 3 months ago. And that's, I think, the hardest part that's the farmer mentality. Farmers know that what you do now, the seeds you plant now, you're going to harvest in 3 months. And that's what you got to understand. The seeds you plant now, you're going to get people that are ready during New Year's resolution time. That's just kind of how it works. So laying the groundwork now and staying very consistent these next 2 months is going to pay off huge for New Year's resolutions, and just kind of understanding that. So that is the mindset piece. I have the stuff that we talked about. I just want to pull it up.
Pat, what was so good about what you just talked about, it reminded me of a quote, and I can't remember who said this, but I shared it at Super Saturday on the weekend, and it's, we live in a microwave society, but this is a crockpot business. And That's what that reminds me of, that farmer mentality, because it is. It's just like you have to remember that the tender loving care that you take each day and that those consistent vitals is going to pay off. And I guess, like, to polish up that mindset piece, how do you yourself personally remember that, and how do you teach your coaches to keep that in mind? Because it is so easy to want those quick wins. We're so programmed to want the quick push button win.
Yeah. If you haven't read the book, The Slight Edge, that is always like my go-to for people that are struggling with that understanding. The slight edge is this invisible thing that's happening every single day. And so this slight edge, this invisible thing that's happening every day, is the way he talks about it is, the simple little things you do every day are easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. And they're even easier not to do them. And at the end of the day, if you don't do them versus if you do them, you're not going to see the difference after 24 hours, because it's this invisible little slight edge. And the negative effect of, not eating well, you're not going to notice it right away. You're not going to gain 1 million pounds in a day. But the positive effects of eating well and doing your workout that day, you're not going to notice immediately in a day or even a week sometimes. But those little tiny decisions you make to either do something or to not do something, they compound over time. And then after a week, a month, 6 months, all of a sudden, all of that invisible results, which is basically the invisible people that are watching you that you don't really realize are watching you, all of that like compounds a little bit over time. And it's almost like these pebbles in a pile that people are going to get to that point where they're ready to jump in with you. And you're kind of like adding a little pebble to that pile every day. And it doesn't seem like it's adding up to anything, but all of a sudden at the end of 6 months, you have this giant pebble of a pile of pebbles. The other analogy I love is, like, you guys know the old water pump, like you pump this water and you pump it and you pump it and nothing comes out, nothing comes out, and nothing comes out. But it's invisible that you can't see is the water is building pressure, and it's coming up underground, but you can't see it. But you keep pushing and you keep putting the lever, and you pump and you pump and you pump, and it's building pressure, and it's coming closer and it's coming closer. But you get discouraged because you can't see it, and you stop. All of the pressure you lose, and the water goes all the way back down. And then if you want to go back to the pump, you got to start over again and create that pressure and create that pressure and create the pressure. And then if you just keep going and you stay consistent, you keep pumping and you keep pumping and you keep pumping, all of a sudden that water comes out of that pump and you don't even need to pump anymore, and it just keeps flowing like crazy. But that's because you stayed patient and consistent in the beginning. So to answer your question, how do I remind myself and how do I remind my coaches? With stories, with analogies, with visual examples, because that's what gets things to stick. The escalator mindset is something that I came up with years and years ago, but people remember it because it's a visual example. It sticks so much more than me just saying, you got to be consistent and let people watch you. That sounds good, but the story lasts a lot longer. It has so much more of an effect on me. So, and the people that I work with. So the answer to your question is just using those analogies, telling stories. The way that you become a leader, the way that you develop leaders is by teaching people how to think differently. And I'm doing that right now. I'm helping you guys think differently, right? I'm helping you guys think a little bit differently about your first year of this business, about how to be more patient and consistent. I'm trying to teach you how to think differently. And I'm doing that by telling stories, by using analogies. And so that's how you guys are going to be able to help your people. That's how you guys are going to be able to create leaders of your own, is by helping people think differently. And the way you help them think differently is by using stories. Stories are the best way to help people start to think differently. And that's this business in a nutshell. One, develop one or two great leaders. And the way you do that is by helping people think differently, and you do it with stories. So that's kind of how I would answer that. I did want to talk about what you said about being a male coach.
Yeah, let's go for it. Like, just if you've noticed any nuances or differences in how you run, say, challenge groups, or how social media works.
I don't know if this is like a male thing. I think it's just my brain thing, that I just keep things so freaking simple. Simple, simple, simple. Like, I'm always trying to take things that people are overcomplicating, and I'm just trying to be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No. Think about it this way. So I'm always trying to simplify how you think about the compensation plan. So my coaches aren't so mumbo jumbo when they're talking to people about how you earn income. I try to teach them how to explain it in a very simple way. And I think for a lot of guys are really interested, and women too, they're really interested in how do you make money. Like a guy sometimes is less interested in the community and the challenge groups. They're interested in how do you earn an income. They want to get in shape. They're afraid to ask for help, because they're too proud, and guys aren't really supposed to ask for help. So that's something I notice is guys are a little bit harder. It's harder for them to reach out and ask for help or admit that they need help with something. And but if you can show them a way to keep things simple and show them a way to earn an income, then they're going to be open-minded. So finding guys that are open-minded for me is big. And then showing them how they can earn an income with keeping it very simple,
Okay, let's talk about that then. So instead of the gender differences, let's talk about when somebody comes to you and they say, yo, Pat, how do I make an income with this? Like, what's the simplest way that you explain it? Because a lot of people on here overcomplicate the shit out of it, right? And I've been guilty of that too, for sure.
Right. Yeah. I tell them there's two ways you earn as a coach. One is retail commission, which is based on 100% your effort. It's based on how many people you help. But if you help people get results, some of them are going to want to do what you're doing. And some of them are going to want to help people of their own, right? And Beachbody is going to thank you for helping people get to the point where they want to help people of their own. Beachbody is going to thank you for empowering people to the point where they are going to want to help people of their own. And they thank you by paying you a team bonus based on how many people those coaches are helping, your team is helping. That's how I explain it. Those are the two ways you earn. One is based on 100% your effort. It's based on who you help. The second way you earn is based on the people that your coaches help. And Beachbody thanks you by giving you a team bonus based on how many people your coaches are helping.
That's awesome.
It's simple, right?
Yeah.
And then I tell people, do you at your job get paid for just your efforts? Right? You have to work a certain amount of hours and you get paid a salary. That's how my job worked. How many of you guys have a job that is like that? You get paid for your effort only, right? How many of you guys? Anybody? Yeah. So that's how most jobs are. That's old school. That's the old school way of doing stuff. You're trading your time for money, your dollars or for your hours for dollars. Your hours for dollars. You get a salary or you get an hourly wage, whatever it is. You're trading your effort for money. If that's how you're going to live your life, you're capped on how much you can earn because you only have so many hours in a day. You're only one person. You can only do so much. Right? You guys feel that? You guys feel like you're capped on how much you can earn? Because if you're only getting paid for your effort, you're kind of capped on how much you can earn because you only have so many hours in a day. You're only one person, right? But if there's an opportunity that's going to allow you to get paid for the efforts of an entire team, now there's no cap on what you can earn. No cap on what you can earn. As your team continues to grow, as people continue to help, as your team helps more people, you're going to continue to earn. Now you're not trading your time for money. You're investing your time in other people, and Beachbody's is going to thank you for doing that by paying you a team bonus based on the ripple effect that you started. How cool is that? I have coaches that were started as customers. They became a coach. Then they got customers. Then those customers wanted to become coaches. And guess what I did? I went and I worked with my coaches' coaches. I talked to my coaches' coaches. I built relationships with my coaches' coaches. And then they saw the vision. They started thinking differently because I told them a story, right? And then now my coach's coach signs a coach of their own. And now there's a third level. And guess what I do? I go and I talk to my coach's coach's coach, and I help them think a little bit differently. And you create this ripple effect that just continues to grow and grow, and the income just continues to grow and grow and grow. And that is so much cooler than earning a salary and trading time for money up the rest of your life.
I love that.
You're not capped on what you can earn at this point now, and you're not capped on how much time you have to do and whatever you want to do with your free time. Because if you're constantly trading time for money, how much time can you go and do other things besides work? You only have a certain amount of vacation days because you're always going to be trading time for money the rest of your life. But if you're able to create something that's going to pay you around the clock, whether you're working or not, now you have time freedom to spend more time with the people you want to spend time with and travel and all of that stuff. You don't have to ask for your boss for permission to take time off. You don't have to check your bank account to go on a cool vacation. You can just go to the people you love and say, I want to go on vacation. Where do you want to go? I did that with my dad this year. I went up to my dad. I said, Dad, you've done so much for me over the years. Like, I want to do something for you. I want to go on a trip, just the two of us, anywhere in the world. Where do you want to go? My treat. And he wanted to go skiing in Colorado. And I didn't have to check my bank account. I didn't have to talk to a boss to see if I could get the time off. I just said, Dad, where do you want to go? Let's go. That is financial freedom. That is time freedom. That is location freedom. That is stress freedom. That's just freedom. That's how I want to live my life, with complete freedom to be able to do that and not have to think about anything else. And that's what this opportunity does. So when someone asks me, how do you earn in this business? I tell them there's one way you earn, which is based on your effort. And that's a great way to start and help some people. And then the second way is finding some other people that want to help people of their own and start to build this business too. And you start to build a team together, and you start to all get paid based on the efforts of an entire team. When you find people that see that and that switch goes off for them, now you're talking. Now you're talking. And if you keep it simple and just explain it like that, people are going to eventually see it. And if they start to create that escalator mindset, you're going to have some people running with you.
Can you just drop 20 mics? Is that?
Yeah.
No, that was awesome. Because I was going to ask you if you could simplify how to make money as a coach, because it is, again, people overcomplicate. We tend to overcomplicate. So when you have a new coach join your team, whether it's your PS or your PS's PS, three levels down, do you jump on a call personally with that new coach every time they're a business builder, or how do you do that?
When I first started, I would try to, I never tried to jump over my coaches, I wanted to, if I was going to talk to their coach, I wanted to make sure that a lot of times my coach was on the call too, listening.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want your coaches, to know how to talk to their coaches just the way, just how you talk to them, like I want my coaches to be able to tell the Escalator mindset to their coaches as well as I can tell it. I want my coaches to be able to explain the 2 ways you earn in the business just as much as well as I can explain it. So when I do talk to my coaches, I want my coaches to listen in if they can, so that they are also being able to get to that point where they can just talk as much as I can. They think the exact same way I think. They can tell a story the same way I can tell it. But when I first started, one of the things that was a game changer for me was when my coach got to the point where they signed a coach, I definitely was getting on calls with my coaches' coaches and talking to them about the Escalator mindset, telling them just kind of having the why and the belief, and just telling them how the Escalator mindset works. So they had a right idea of, you're going to have to be on the Escalator for a while. So they didn't get discouraged the first couple months. They understood that this is just how it worked. They had to be a farmer. And when I started just reaching out to my coaches and teaching them the farmer mindset and the Escalator mindset, then I started to see my coaches get more excited and be more consistent, which made my coaches get more excited and be more consistent. And then when coaches got signed up on my 3rd level, I'd get on a call with them. I'd tell them the same stories, help them create the same Escalator mindset. They'd stay more consistent and get more excited. Then the 2nd level coaches would get more excited, and my coaches would get more excited, and it would ripple all the way up through the whole team. So yes, definitely connecting with your coaches and your coaches is super helpful.
You know what I love too? Like, you practice what you preach. You're speaking about keeping it simple, and you just reiterated 3 times. Like, yeah, this is the same story that I just told you guys. This is what I tell my new coaches. This is what I tell my new coaches to tell their new coaches, and keep that continuity of team culture going. That's everything. So when you say, like, yo, new coach, here's the Escalator farmer mindset. It might be a little shaky for a bit. You got to trust the process. Do you just say, like, here's your BAT tracker? Like, pick a program, do your vitals every single day, develop your belief, read personal development, and just stick with it? Like, is that your
basically? Yeah, I don't recreate the wheel. Like, it's the vital behaviors. It's hey, you got to be on your own journey. You have to be in love with your own journey. If you're not in love with your own journey, reinvent your journey. Like, fall in love with your journey. I'm 10 years into this, and and the reason I'm still going is because I'm always finding ways to fall in love with my own journey. I'm always finding new types of meditations that I'm excited about. Like, I'm always finding new books that I love. I'm always finding new workout programs that I love. I'm learning new things about food and the mind and my body and life and, everything. So I'm always growing and learning myself. I'm always falling in love with my own growth. And that's what the first thing I always tell my coaches, is you gotta be in love with your own growth. You gotta be someone that just loves to grow and learn. And then the second thing is, okay, now you're going to invite other people to join you on that journey as well. And so, yeah, it's the vital behaviors. It's being proof the products work and inviting other people to be a part of that, and I tie in personal development with being proof the products work. That's all part of the growth, the products, personal development, your own journey, and then inviting other people to join you in that. That's it. And I think people are so afraid, a lot of times they're hesitant to invite because there's a difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs are people that are emotionally attached to people's response to them. And so they try to convince people because they take it personal if someone says no. And a professional is not emotionally attached to people's responses. So they don't try to convince people. They just share what they're doing, what they believe in, what works for them. And if the person's interested, cool. And if they're not, whatever. You're not, like you don't take it personal. You just are sharing what you're not trying to convince people. You know it works. You know the products work. You know personal development works. You know the earning potential is insane with this business. You don't have to convince people of those things. You just have to share with people and let them decide for themselves, and let them say no at first, and then just let them watch you and let them be like, why is this person not trying to convince me? Why are they just like so cool with me telling them no but they keep going? What am I missing? And then they just kind of have this weird feeling like they're missing something. And then they watch you and then they're like, maybe I should try this, because that person didn't try to convince me. They were pretty cool about it, me saying no. So I think that's the professional versus the amateur. That's the mindset. And the other thing I try to, again, stories, right? So inviting people to a challenge group is, to me, like inviting someone to a party. To me, my growth, my journey is a fun party. Like everyone on the team and the challenge group, like you guys on this call, you guys are all part of like the most fun, cool party that I would ever want to be a part of. You guys all think in a more optimistic, positive way. That to me is the type of people I want to surround myself with. That's the type of party I want to be at. And so I think of challenge groups as just a big fun party that I'm inviting other people to be at. And I don't really care if they don't come to the party. What I do care is that they know they're invited. The worst thing that could happen is that you throw a big party, on Friday night, and then someone on social media sees that you threw this big party, but you didn't invite them because you forgot about them. That is what I am worried about. I don't worry at all that they say no when I invite them. All I'm going to say is, hey, y'all, I'm throwing this fun party on Friday. I'd love it if you can make it. That's it. And that's exactly how I invite to my challenge groups. Hey, I'm doing this new workout program. I think it'd be fun to do together if you want to jump in with us. Done. If they say yes, cool. If they don't, cool. But at least they know they're invited to the party. I just want to make sure that they don't feel like they got left out and they didn't get the invite. And that's how you got to understand. That's what you got to think about your challenge groups, as just you're throwing a fun party that people can come to, and you want to make sure that they know they're invited. And if they show up, great. And if they don't, whatever. That's it.
Cool. Well, go. You got another one?
No, I'm just saying, like, that's just, I think, another example of teaching people how to think a little bit differently. That's how you start. That's how you become a leader, by teaching people how to think a little differently, by telling stories.
Totally. I used to use the waitressing example just because I come from a waitressing bartending background. And I would just say, like, after dinner, when you go to people's tables and you say, hey, do you want tea or coffee? If they say no to you, you're not personally offended if they say no to tea or coffee. It's just this awesome thing that you have to offer them. Your tea and coffee is excellent. It's awesome. You drink it daily. You just go to the next table. And if the next table happens to say yes, you then ask, do you want cream or sugar? Right? You upsell. So It's the exact same thing. No emotional attachment. It's just, I have this sweet thing. Do you want to be a part of it? If you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had a waiter or waitress get mad at me and be like, what? I can't believe this guy. He's such an asshole. This
is the best.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, it's just a different way of thinking about it. And then because you don't have that emotional attachment, you have no hesitation. You have no fear. And that's the biggest thing sometimes that kills coaches, is that fear, that hesitation, because they're so worried someone's going to say no,
This is really good. I really, really appreciate you shuffling around your call tonight, jumping on, sharing your heart so openly. The chat was blowing up. People are like, damn, this guy's got good stuff. Boom. Like, there's a reason probably why Team Boom. Here you go.
Boom. Yeah, it's funny. Like, one of my first coaches was, his name's Joe, and he's like a retired New York City fireman. He's an Italian dude from New York City, like, really funny guy. Every time he would get a new customer, he would text me Boom. And so anytime I would get a new coach, or he would, get a new customer, or I would get a new customer, we would just text each other Boom. And then when we got then there was 5 of us on the team. And we were like, maybe we should have like a team name. And we were like, how about just Team Boom? You know, it was like before there was all these creative names like Team, you know, whatever. But you guys are Team Boomerang, right? Or
we're a collective collaboration. We've got Morgan Rieger's Limitless downline, my Boomerang downline, Brittany Holko's. There's a bunch on here, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how, you know, that started. And I think also like with guys, when I show them that second way you earn, that's based on how many people the team is helping. When I show them that I'm going to actually put people under them, I'm going to put coaches on their team. And so they're going to be able to earn from the efforts of the coaches I'm signing after they sign up. They get excited about that, you know, because now it's not just what they're doing. It's also, I'm going to help them earn too, because I'm going to assign some coaches and place them below them. And they're like, and then now they're like, okay, wow, this is cool. And I tell them, yo, like I got someone signing up probably today. So if you sign up first, I'll be able to get you started. I'll be able to start to add to your team right away. So, you know, sign up now before they do.
I love that. Okay, can you really quickly share? I know I want to be mindful of your time here, but so say you're jumping on a new call with a coach, and just to clarify, you go over Escalator, Farmer Mindset, tell them the story to kind of prep them that way. Do you go over the vitals tracker with them and kind of what the vitals are? Okay, sweet. And then do you say, here, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like. We want to get you to Emerald ASAP. Like, what's your next step to not overwhelm, but to teach them efficiently?
Yeah, I don't do that on the first call. The first call is just mindset and skills.
Okay, good.
So the Escalator mindset, you know, the why, your why, you know, that belief, and then your skills, like just the, you know, the vitals, the business activity tracker. And I tell them, like, don't worry about anything other than just inviting people to your first challenge group, you know, and we'll just talk about how to start to share and invite. And that's all you got to focus on. And then usually like maybe the next week, I'll hop on another call with them on a Zoom, and I'll share my screen, or I'll have them share their screen, and I'll have them go into the graphical genealogy. And I'll just show them like their left and right leg, and hopefully, you know, maybe there's at least one coach that I've placed below them, or the upline is placed below them at that point. And I go, hey, you see yourself here in the graphical genealogy. Do you see this person right here, right in your leg? And they're like, yeah, what's that person doing there? How'd they get there? I'm like, this is the coolest thing about this business. You know, like everything that this person does, everybody that this person helps is going to help you increase your team bonus that you're going to earn. And they're like, whoa, this is so cool. And I'm like, yeah, you should connect with that person, you know, and then they reach out to that coach that signed up below them, and they start to build relationships. And the more relationships coaches have, the more successful they are.
Cool. Thank you for clarifying that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's the second call.
Cool. Is there a third? I'm just dying to know.
The third call is just kind of going over those same two things, you know, like from there, it's just like, they already have the mindset and they're working on the mindset. They're working on the skills, you know, and they kind of they understand the two ways you earn as a coach. I think once you kind of have that down, you're good to go. You know, like once you got the mindset and you're working on those skills and you understand the two ways you earn as a coach, you know, you're kind of unstoppable.
Awesome. All right. Well, I want to, again, be mindful of everybody's time. So we'll wrap up here, but is there anything that you didn't get to talk about, Pat, that you were like, oh yeah, I kind of wanted to mention that one last thing?
Let me just look at this. Male coach, how to get started with Escalator mindset, how to max your income. I think we hit all of that.
I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll just say is like, you know, the mindset, getting good at explaining the mindset to other people. I was terrible at that when I first started. You know, like when you know, the skills like sharing on social media, inviting people, I was terrible at that too. But that's just, I didn't expect to be good because I had never done it before. So don't expect to be amazing at this stuff. And so that's the other thing I tell my coaches is I'm like, hey, like, don't expect to be amazing at this stuff right out of the gate. When you learn a new sport, you're not going to be great right away. You know, you're not going to be as good as some of the people that have been playing for consistently for 2 or 3 years. So I just try to have that understanding of, hey, just like a new baby learning to walk, you're going to get up, take a step, fall, get up, take a step, fall. But don't be one of those coaches that says, man, like this walking thing's kind of tough. I think I'm going to crawl. I think I'm going to go back to crawling. Just get back up and take a step and fall and take a step and fall. And eventually you're going to be running and you're going to be at the top of that escalator.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pat. Really, really appreciate you. Respect your business. I respect your long-term vision and mindset. And I'm really grateful we connected.
Yes. I love it. I love you guys. You guys are going to crush this. I'll see you guys on the escalator.
Sounds great. Okay. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
See you guys.